So I was thinking about high school, which I very rarely do.
Should I,
I hit next.
aye, right.
Yeah,
I didn't know if this was for the recording or...
I was thinking about high school, which I let's say, very rarely do. And I was recalling a time back when I was in computing.
Yeah.
And we had a substitute teacher. And stop me when you think the story deviates into just downright fiction.
Right.
But we had a substitute teacher, and I want to say her name was Miss Kennedy. I might be misremembering her name. Like sort of petite wee blonde lass.
That rings a bell.
Aye. And so she was our subby in computing for one rando class. And so she was like being well flirtatious with us.
Right.
Like
what,
I mean, like
all of you.
No, just me. Like
right.
I mean like properly inappropriate in a classroom setting. Like so, she sat down like right next to me. And like in computing, you mind what computing was like? It was just up your sky.
Sometimes it was, yeah.
Where you were just like, you know, you put together whatever spreadsheet or maybe a document, and that was it. I don't recall ever doing like HTML or, you know, how to do anything useful. It was just,
we did that, but remind me later and I'll come back to it.
So she came, she sat next to me, and like she put her hand on my leg.
Right.
And I was like, Miss, do you want to like back off a wee bit?
Aye.
And she was just like, you know, how much she loved young meat.
Right, no, I think now is where you're talking straight, but keep going.
Okay. But I like I say, she was in amongst it. It was pure really uncomfortable. And like I say, totally inappropriate. And she was one of those teachers, she was normally a fucking cow, like at all times. I remember being like an actual pure laugh. And anyway, she gave us a blowy. Just right.
No, you're talking right again.
In the middle of computing. And I've never told anyone that story before because I didn't really know.
Apart from everyone that was there in the class?
Well, no, I mean, they just didn't notice. Like, she was quite discreet about it. And
don't talk shit.
And let's say it only just occurred to me then that happened. It reminded me of that episode of South Park where Miss Lady bangs a boy, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a victim just like him.
What episode's that?
It's Ike shags one of the teachers.
Oh yeah, don't they like run away together? And
everything? And it's like, you know, they're like, it's alright when it's like a poor female teacher to like a male student.
Yeah, because they're currently like telling people, and then everyone's just like, nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was like, and that's why I've never shared that before. Is, you know, it was very uncomfortable and not appropriate and not okay.
Or true, but you know. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Hulk Hogan, I was going to tell you more about Hulk Hogan. That's what it was. I forgot about it later. So one of the funny phrases about, I'm sure people have said about other people, but Hulk Hogan doesn't tell lies, he creates facts. You know, that's the one that people are saying.
It's a bit of a Chuck Norris statement.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a Chuck Norris thing originally. Did you know that when Chuck Norris goes in the water, he doesn't get wet, the water gets Chuck Norris?
Yeah.
But so Hulk Hogan, one of his better lies, he claims that he got scouted by the New York Yankees, like, and the Mets and the Red Sox, but he injured himself and he couldn't play baseball anymore, which is pish. He claimed that he was in a band and he played bass, right? And he claims that he auditioned for Metallica and they asked him to join, but he couldn't make it because he had like wrestling commitments. And someone asked Lars Ulrich about that, and he said, no, that's not right, which of course it is. Hulk Hogan claimed that he worked, was it 400 days in a year? Because, so he would fly over to Japan and he would wrestle, and then he would fly back, which causes the time difference. He'd essentially be wrestling like twice. He'd essentially be gaining days. So he'd be wrestling like 400 dates a day, I'm sure it was what he used. Which is not true either.
At least if you're gonna lie, be creative like that about it. I mean, that's entertaining if nothing else. What were you gonna say about computing?
Computing? You were on about HTML.
HTML,
We did. I remember us doing programming one time, and I was that way. Like the teacher was so boring, I was just totally zoned out, and I was just sitting blindly copying the boy Craig, who was sitting next to me. Right, whatever he typed, I typed, and so it got to the point where we're supposed to put our names at the end, put like coded by Jack. And then like the next week, I get pulled out of class, and the teacher goes, "Do you want to explain something?" And he shows me, and then at the bottom of mine it says coded by Craig Jameson, and I was just on such autopilot that I even copied like that off of him. And they were like, "Why? Why is your code the exact?" Because he must have had one or two mistakes. And they're like, "It's the exact same mistakes," and yada yada yada. And you signed it. It's him, and I was like, "There's probably a reasonable explanation here, sir." And then he just went, "I think the reasonable explanation is," and he tore this sheet of paper in half, and he was like, "It's now null and void, and you need to do it again or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." I'm sure it was third year. So I don't think it was an exam, but it was like a sort of test.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a proper they're getting expelled for this or anything, but it was like, what you doing? You need to redo that. There was another story. So there was a boy called we'll just call him Corey, right?
Right.
And he stunk, but that's not the story. He was bamming up this other boy who we'll just call Zachary, right? And he had his notebook or his jotter or whatever, and he was just going like, take it, like that. And I was like 2 tables behind, and I threw mine at Corey in the corner, like caught him right in the eye, and he was like, "Ah!" And he gave him back his book, and I was like, haha. That's what you get for bullying people. And so I was dishing out some justice that day. So I'm getting distracted. This guy's getting lady.
I had this bud ask me out in art, and it was a bit of a shame. 'Cause I'm no
Oil painting.
Aye, I'm no
Is that the expression?
I'm no George. I was going for the George Clooney.
Oh, right.
I was like, no. I kind of thought I could do better here.
Mm-hmm.
So I said yes originally, and I knocked it back. And I went to the teacher because I was just pure feeling dead humiliated. I went, "Oh miss, I'm feeling sick. Can I go to my whatever it was?
The little boys' room.
The meds fucking office.
Yeah.
See the school nurse who's gonna fucking diagnose you with shingles or whatever.
Yeah.
Because she just knows fuck all about medicine. I feel pure shite about it, but I'm glad I stood by that decision.
Departure. What would you do if you found out she won the lottery and she was like ultra rich?
I'd probably shag. No, I don't. It's not like that. And I think she wouldn't appreciate a phone call from me on that basis. She'd be like, you knocked me back. What about me? Oh, just coming now because I want money. I'd be like that. Well, aye, but I'm sure we have fucking paper bag. Reminds me of that song by Steel Panther, Fat Girl.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Put my hot dog into your bun. You're really, really tons of fun.
What is that you're playing?
I'm playing a Tom Gold run while you play this.
Oh.
Just purely because I need to get my daily login bonus.
Yeah.
Another time, one of the science teachers proposed to us.
Right.
That was pretty weird. Miss Gallagher, I want to say.
Saying what?
Saying what?
Yeah.
She proposed to us. Asked us to marry her.
Married.
No,
Pish.
it's not pish. I was her favourite student. Could operate a Bunsen burner like no other child.
I had a teacher called Mr. Newton, and he taught.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. I was at the same school as you.
Yes, we did. Mr. Newton
taught physics.
Aye.
Fuck off.
He was a nice specky guy. He was a goon. He told me to fuck off one time.
Did he?
Aye.
Jeez, oh. School was diabolical, man.
I deserved it, to be fair. I was a wee shite in his class. But aye, he was such a... He'd always go in the same, like... Because there was a few sort of widos in my class. So, like, whenever somebody would be, like, talking out of turn, he would always just give it, like... One of these days... He was English, right? He'd be like, one of these days you're going to be out. You're going to be out in a pub and someone's not going to like your back chat and they're going to smash you. You're going to wake up in casualty. And it was always the same scenario. And
always.
It was always that exact scenario. It was like, they'll smash you and you'll wake up in casualty and you'll wish you weren't such a cheeky lad or whatever it was.
Is that what you've prepared?
And then I just...
for that one event.
Yeah, well, I said that one time.
Like,
I was
sir,
like...
I cannot literally lose a fight now.
I was like...
I've trained my body to fucking physical perfection.
I was like, sorry, are you speaking from experience? And he was like, do you think that's funny? And I was like, well, everybody laughed.
Pretty funny.
So I'd done him twice. He was like, do you think that's funny? I was like, everybody else laughed. No, he was a fun. And he would always, like, if people were talking and not, like, concentrating, he'd be like, that's enough, everybody work out. So we'd get up and start doing star jumps and shit like that. You know, like, work out, like,
what?
Exercise.
Random.
No, did you say work out?
Physics. Right, aye.
Aye, because work out as in, like, just do your work.
Ah, yeah.
But we would take it as work out as in, like, exercise. That's why we'd
funny.
get up, right? Yeah,
That's creative.
Well, not. Are you sure? I mean, I had to explain it, so maybe it wasn't that funny, but it was funny at the time. He was a fud.
I mean, I don't get why teachers do it, man. There's one teacher, and it's quite funny. Ethan just got his report card in.
Yeah.
And she consistently gives him a bad report card.
Uh-huh.
And this time it stands out because he really has, like, turned it around in many ways. He's got, like, all 1s and 2s for everything except her. Like, she's the only one who's given him, like, a 4 for behaviour and, like, a 4 for homework. And he's like, we didn't even have fucking homework from her. And I'm like, no, bang on. So I'm just going to take it to the headmaster because I'm like, bang out.
Take it to Donaghy.
Yeah. It's not Donaghy anymore.
Well, isn't it? What happened?
Oh, no, maybe it is Donaghy. It used to be Molesdale, did it not?
He's gone. He's been gone a while.
I think Gilmore's been ousted as well.
Why?
Since that man TikTok's been doing the rounds.
But he didn't make it.
No, but it points out the fact that he was dismissed from a previous school.
Does it?
Aye. Right at the end of the video, it points out, Bishop Briggs' teacher pure dismissed for like racial slurs or something.
That was the story, but I mean, who knows? I wasn't there.
It was in the Mulgai Herald or something.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. He had a bit of a temper, him. He was one of those guys where he'd be fine, then scream.
Aye. Like, he can only handle so much.
And then he would just lose it.
I mind one boy, Andrew Gibb, would always rip into Mr. Was it Mr. Gilbert? No, it wasn't Mr. Gilbert. It was Mr.
Wouldn't he say, like, get out or something like that?
Andrew Gibb, will you get out of my class?
Wouldn't he say, like, oh no, Mr. Gilbert,
I'd be like, sir, get out of my class. I mean, sir was the pure bit.
That's what, yeah, I mean, it's so weird, because when you were back-chatting teachers, you'd give them, like, all kinds of abuse, but then still call them sir.
Aye, it was weird. Mine one time we just hid from Blackburn. Like, just straight up, we just decided one day, do you know what, fuck PE. We were just going to fucking hide in the... And I know it sounds stupid saying we hid in the gymnasium, but you know how it was, like, disconnected? Like, they'd be outside playing football, and you would hide, like, in the gym.
Aye.
I probably got away with that. Got out of social dancing a few times. Just went, fuck you, sir. So, is everyone out, like, in the change room? And we'd be like, aye. Just like, fuck you. Sexiest pure just hiding in the gym. Shooting the shit. Waiting for the fucking period to end. At that point, why we didn't just hit the bell is beyond me.
One time, whoever it was, they wanted to shout at me, but they must have just respected it, because we were supposed to be inside playing basketball, because that was like our block of basketball, but because it was all BAMs in my class, they would just be like, oh, so can we just play outdoor fives instead?
It was always outdoor fives.
And he would just go, and he was so spineless, he'd just be like, oh, sure, why not?
They always acquiesced.
So I had these brand new white white Converse because we were meant to be indoors, and I thought, no bother, why not? Then we were outside and not pissing down, but not that dry either, on the mad ash pitch. And I was like, no, fuck this, I've got my brand new trainers. I'm like, not getting these messed up. So I had bibs, you know, the mad stinking bibs you would wear. I just had a bib on each foot, like over my shoes, you know, tucked into my socks to keep my shoes from getting dirty, and it worked.
Keep your kicks from getting scuffed.
Aye. So he was like, Jack, what's that on your feet? And I was like, oh, it's bibs, sir. These are new trainers. And he was like, that's not the proper way to be using like school equipment or whatever, but he didn't make me take them off.
Exactly. Shut up, sir.
He didn't make me take them off. We used to have this thing where we would do, if you used a bad word, he'd make you do however, so if you used the F word, it'd be like 4 laps for that many letters. And I called someone like a mother F and C or something like that. And he was like, you know what, I'm not even counting, just the rest of the lesson, son. And I was like,
just keep running.
I was like, that's fair, that is very fair. God, I was about 13 as well, I shouldn't have even known what those words meant.
Probably knew them since you were in primary school. That's what worries me now. Kids today know all the expletives. Once threw a baseball bat at Blackburn. It wasn't intentional. It was like, you know, that reflex when
you like after you hit, you kind of like launch it.
You hit up your belter and you like fucking throw it back behind you, forgetting that he's on the base behind you. And he fucking launched his glove at us and was like, fucking 50 laps. And we were like, oh, you just swore, so you need to do 10 laps and all. Fuck you.
I'll do it if you do it. Yeah. What the fuck happened?
Nami ran away.
You fucking cow. Why'd she run away?
Because you just weren't paying attention.
Oh, Jobby.
She was getting battered in the sudden end. You weren't paying attention. Or game over.
Oh, kiss man. Okay, sorry about that. That was me not paying attention. And Nami died because she's a goon. So yeah. Aye, what were we saying?
Just talking about good old school days. Mainly PE, but you know, the more I think about it, like...
Did I tell you the time I launched, I feel bad about it now, but I launched a basketball at someone's head and I missed his head by like an inch.
Like a teacher?
No, a guy in the class. He was a dick. He was a mad wido. Thought he could fight. He came in every weekend with a new story of how he'd get dude at the weekend, but thought he was tough because he get dude. I don't know, it was weird. He claimed, this story, I think he was actually trying to be funny and not taken seriously, but he claimed that him and one other boy dude 300 of the ballo, but the last 50 got the better of them. So they get dude by,
300 guys.
Well, they get dude by 350 guys. The first 300, the first waves of 300 they took on, but then the last 50, their stamina was just depleted and they got the better of them. But anyway, we were playing basketball and then one of them like scored a basket or whatever, and as the ball kind of like came back down and landed, he he sort of grabbed it and he slammed it down and it like came up and hit me in the face. Aye. He was like celebrating. He was like, yes, and he like slammed it down and it came up, hit me in the face. It was sore. And I just got freaked out and I launched it at his head and I missed him by like that much. Because I didn't really think about it, but like if it had actually hit him, it would have properly fucked him up. And so a teacher like paps me out of the room or whatever, and he gave me a bollocking. And then so like when they're all coming out and everybody's there, he's getting it like, oh, you're lucky I don't punch your cunt in and all this type of stuff. And I was like, brave. I was sitting there like a bunch of teachers about. I'm sitting there just kind of not really laughing, but not taking it a square away. I'm sort of just like, nothing's gonna happen when you're saying that. And then I think they took him and they were having over with him. And then I go into the changing room and then it's just me and him in the changing room, which was a bit of an oversight by the teachers, but it was just me and him in there, and I didn't say like square go or anything like that, but I just kind of like went in. I was like, I was just not knowing about. I was like, oh, so you're still gonna punch my cunt in? And he was like, no, I just didn't do shit.
Exactly.
I'm like, fuck up. He's a wee fun. I'm sure he left in 4th year. I'm sure he had a kid like before the end of 5th year. When he was like 16. I might be talking garbage there, but I'm pretty sure he did. In fact, I'm sure it was another girl from our school.
I know.
She was the lassie. If it's who I'm thinking of, I might be mistaken, but fuck it, it's a good story. So anyway, this was like second year, and she was a wee widow, and she got packed out the class, and she was like, oh fuck's sake, and then she stormed out, she like knocked her bag over, and like a bunch of Johnnies went like streaming over the floor.
Oh, FS.
When you're like in second year, that was pure scandalous.
That's scandalous.
So, yeah. What is? I mean, what? She'd have been 13, 14? I mean, that's kind of gross. Nah, she was a scumbag.
One of the girls
She's
in
got
our
like
class,
4 kids now.
well, one of the girls in our class gave a talk about, you know, getting knocked up, how a friend of hers had found out she was pregnant.
Aye.
And we were like, that's obviously you.
Well, you don't know.
It was obviously her. Like, there's not a doubt in anyone's mind at that time that it was her. The story was about her. And I mean, to be fair, she had 3 kids. She seems happily married, so I mean, you know.
Aye, as long as
No
it's
harm, no foul, exactly.
Yeah. No, but this girl I'm on about, she has like 4 kids to like 5 different dads or something like that. And if Genevieve Kerr was still about, she would be on it. Ryan saw her, and Ryan was working in Asda for a wee bit, like a couple of years ago, and he said he saw her, and he was like, oh, what are you up to? And she was like, oh, just, you know, just doing what a mum do. What was it? She said, like, oh, just raising the kids, working my arse off, like, mum's got to do what a mum's got to do. He was like, oh, where is it you're working? She was like, oh, I don't work. I've never had a job. So it was like, you're not working that hard. Well, raising kids is hard. I'm being facetious there, but you know, I'm just saying. She made it as if like, oh, I'm putting in 40 hours at this shift, and then, you know, I've got a part-time job on the side, and I'm stripping my way through college and all that type of stuff. It was like, no, you're not. Guarantee all your wains like can't read. And
you get good money just for having lanes, especially if you're on your Todd. That's been the big not mistake, but it's been kind of the sort of false economy America created. Is
right.
You know, it was you were better off to be a single parent financially,
right,
than to have like a formal living partner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it undermines the sort of stable nuclear family that, you know, Jeebus and all that promote.
Yeah, but I mean, the kids there now, the kids shouldn't have to suffer just because the mom was a prostitute. There's a gentleman called Michael Chandler. He's a UFC fighter, and he's white, and his wife is white, and they adopted an African American child. And I saw a thing recently. It was like Michael Chandler versus, like, you know, an African American fighter, and it was like a hypothetical fight, and it was who would win. And the top comment was just Chandler by adoption.
Right.
Yeah.
Sick.
I think he's adopted another kid. I might be wrong there. I might be wrong. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Fair play to anybody who adopts, man.
Michael Chandler's a good guy. Well, I don't know him personally, but he seems like a good guy as well. But I don't know. It was funny. It was a laugh. He was on Raw the other day. Oh, I was going to tell you about Vince McMahon as well. Have you heard about Vince McMahon?
No.
You not heard any of it?
No.
Oh, don't know how much of it is like safe for. In fact, no. I've been watching YouTube videos on it, so it's all safe for YouTube. Michael Chandler was on Raw the other day, and he cut a promo, and it was actually a pretty good promo. Is what made me think of this. He was just sitting in the crowd, and so the thing is that the WWE and the UFC are now both owned by the same parent company, which is fascinating. So yeah, Michael Chandler, I guess because now it's the same company that owns them both, he was at an event and they just said, hey, do you want to get on the mic and cut a wee promo? You've got like 1 minute. And he was like, ah, sure. And he got on it and he was just, yeah. So anyway, right, so Vince McMahon, about a year-ish back, stepped down from being chairman. You know, he'd been like the man in charge for like since the 80s.
No.
In fact, earlier, I think. Because it was his dad made the company and he eventually bought it off of him and took it over. So he'd been like the man in charge for years and years and years, and he sort of stepped down, but then they either sold the company and then he stepped down, or he stepped down then they sold the company. It doesn't really matter. The point is, even when he stepped down, he essentially was still the main shareholder, so he kind of was still even in charge even when he was gone. if that makes sense. So yeah, he stepped down because there was a bunch of like sexual assault allegations and stuff like that. But then he basically came back, and the dodgy thing is he came back and his daughter stepped down. She had been chairwoman since he retired, and she's pissed off now, and sort of has refused to talk about why. So yeah, anyway, long story short, a woman has came out and she's suing Vince McMahon because he made her sign a non-disclosure agreement for, I think it was like $3 million, right? So he gave her $1 million, and then he was going to give her 500 grand a year for the next however many years. But he just didn't. So he gave her the $1 million up front, and he just the next time the payment was due, he just went, "Nah, get fucked, you're not getting it." And she went, "All right, cool, you've breached the non-disclosure." So it's all over the news now, right? So she's he basically employed her at the WWE as a paralegal, as like an admin assistant, and she just did nothing. She was just there because he was like,
what, the pumper?
Yeah, no, because those two were pumping, which is dodgy enough, right? But then it gets dodgier because she said that he then started pimping her out to other staff members, and she would get sent like on a plane if Raw, because their base is in Connecticut, is it? British Connecticut. I'm probably talking shit, but whatever it is, it's based there. But say Raw was from California, she'd get sent on a plane to California, so he's getting done for, it's actually sex trafficking, because it's over state lines and things like that. And like some of the things she's accusing him of are like horrific. Like apparently he made her like engage in a three-way, and he shat on her head, and then he went away and showered, and he said, "No, you two keep going while I shower," while she had like poop in her hair. And he and John Laurinaitis was the head of talent relations. Johnny Ace he was called when he was a wrestler. So apparently he would get Big Johnny Ace in, and they would like both like do stuff to her, even though she would say like, "No, I don't want to," and stuff like that. They apparently would say things like "no mean Jess" and crap like that. Like really heinous stuff. And there's so it's kind of funny because he was at the time unnamed WWE superstar, right? Who was a former UFC champion. That's one guy. There's like one guy.
Narrows it down.
There's one guy that could possibly. Well, actually, I was actually talking to your mom about this. I think technically there's actually 3 people that were UFC champion and have worked at the WWE. So if you give them the benefit of the doubt, it could have been any of those 3. But the only one that was with them at that time was Brock Lesnar. They're talking about Brock Lesnar. Like, like the way they former UFC champion who Vince wanted to re-sign with the WWE in like 2023. It's one guy, it's Brock Lesnar, so even though they're not naming him, he's been named. And it was right before the Royal Rumble a couple of weeks ago.
Alright.
He was meant to be on it, and when this came out, he was like, "Oh right, I'm dipping," and he wasn't on the show. He just never showed up. Slim Jims were gonna take away like their sponsorship of the event. There's some other, I think it might have been like Pepsi or somebody was sponsoring the event. Like massive big company. They were like, "No, we're pulling out unless like he steps down," and so like he had to step down for a second time as chairman. So he was trying to pimp her out. This paralegal was trying to pimp her out to Brock Lesnar to make him like re-sign with the company, and apparently he would like he had like toys and what have you that he would use, and he apparently gave them like wrestlers' names. So he would say like, "Oh, today I'm bringing out the Iron Sheik," or "Today you're getting some Hulk Hogan," or whatever. And he would have his instruments. It's just pure really messed up stuff. Vince McMahon's like 83 as well. So it's madness, some of the stuff that's came out, and it's one of those ones as well. Was now there's a bunch of like stories from years ago that are coming out now. Like with Jimmy Savile and all that stuff. Like people from the past are coming up and going, "Oh well, now I feel all right to come out and say it." And I believe the vast majority of them, that's quite atrocious. Because apparently he always had a bit of a reputation of like him and his wife, right? have apparently been separated for years now. Like, legally they're still married, but they both know it's a sham. And yeah, apparently there's always been rumours of them being like having girlfriends and on the side and things like that. But this is the first time it's like out officially. And what else was it he did? Just the stuff coming out about like people that he employed who used to like diddle ring boys and stuff like that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Pat Patterson is one of the names they keep throwing around. Who everybody knows Pat Patterson's gay, and yeah, back when he was a wrestler in like the 70s and 80s, that was like, you know, really frowned upon. Nobody really gives a shit now, but yeah, apparently a lot of the guys come out, like there's people came out with stories saying like, oh, I got offered a contract with the WWE, but then like Pat Patterson said, if you don't shag me, then you're not getting signed, and he said no, so like he got thrown out and things like that. So it's one of those ones that, like, it's a total rabbit hole. It's just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And yeah, so I think you should look into it. His text messages have been leaked that he's been sending, or that he was sending to the women as well. And there's pages and pages of it, and they're just pure depraved. And his spelling's really bad as well, which is quite funny. And he would have been like 75 at the time, and he's trying to talk like the kids do. You know, he's trying to use like lingo and like text speech and what have you. He's spelling "you're" as in like "you are" and things like that. Aye, he's a monster.
Must come here.
One interesting thing I heard was, so there's a guy I like called Jim Cornette, who's like a wrestling pundit, I guess you could say. I suppose that would be the term. And he was talking about it, and he was saying like, you know, he used to work at the WWE like in the 90s, and he was saying, like back then, he was saying I can't. Well, what he's saying is, I can believe it, but I can't believe it was going on back then. He was saying he reckons he's lost his mind due to getting a lot of concussions at like 60 plus, from like chair shots and crap like that, and all the HGH, and like, if you see him, he's in his 80s and he's still like muscular and shredded. Like, he's on a crazy amount of steroids and HGH and all that crap, and has been for maybe 40 years now. He's been on that junk. So
you reckon?
Who knows what that's done to like his hormone levels? I'm not saying roid rage, because roid rage, most people agree it's probably a myth, roid rage, but it will mess with your hormones, and especially if you've been on it for as long as that, like, everything he's doing will affect his hormones, so which will affect his behaviour, might make him more aggressive and what have you, or I don't know. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, Jeff Bezos is apparently on the same juice. Apparently he's looking ridiculously buff these days.
Bezos?
Huh?
Why?
Why? Well, exactly. I mean, why? I suppose just feels a bit insecure, maybe. He's meant to be boss in charge of a company, you know, like Amazon, richest man in the world, basically.
Is he the richest man in the world?
I don't know. Probably not. It's probably like Saudi princes and shit.
Look it up right now.
Come on, game. Don't know why you're loading. Oh, here we go.
Richest man in the world.
But it's only that's only declared income.
It says Bezos.
Oh, there you go. But it's only
Jeff
declared
Bezos
income.
topples Elon Musk to reclaim the title. Well, that's what it says here, but oh my god.
But the Middle East is full of people who don't have declared incomes.
Yeah.
They suspect are richer.
Quite possibly. It says he's gained 23 billion, but what does that mean? So 23 billion from last year, or I don't know. Disgusting.
Why is it disgusting? What's wrong with capitalism?
He doesn't need that much money. No one does. Especially the people that work at Amazon are so badly mistreated. You know, they have, what is it they call them? Like safe space pods or some crap like that, and on the factory floors, where they can go in and cry.
Well, that's nice.
Mental health spaces or something like that. Yeah, so if you need to go cry, you can go in there. They time their bathroom breaks as well.
I know about all that. It's basically everything's monitored by a computer.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't get away from it. The idea of efficiency trumps everything. And you know, I've seen companies like Toyota and that who are chasing like milliseconds, you know, for like productivity, for for the sake of productivity. Skadoosh. Can't even get to most of these guys.
I would need to see some stats before I make up my mind, but I reckon that's one of those short-term ideas. It's like, yeah, you'll get those extra milliseconds then, but if everybody hates their job...
With retraining and people leaving...
if everybody hates it, then they're gonna not work as hard.
They'll steal that time elsewhere.
Yeah, it'll make you less efficient rather than more efficient. Like if you
Toyota's...
If you take 10 seconds to take a breath and scratch your arse, the next minute will be more productive than had you not taken that 10 seconds, if you like.
If you're not taking time to check as well.
Yeah. I had a job at a call centre and they, I think it was like a 3-minute comfort break you got each hour. It's like if you had to go pee or whatever, you had 3 minutes.
Well, that's good. What if you needed something slightly larger?
Well, exactly.
You fuck.
I mean, that's at least 6 minutes you need for one of those. That was a horrific job. I remember hearing myself recorded back one time because they would record the calls, and it was like I was asking, "No, can I have your NSNI number?" No, I gave you it already. I was like, "No, you didn't." I gave it to you as soon as you answered the call. I was like, "That wasn't an NSNI number. That was just you barking arbitrary syllables at me, mate." I didn't call them mate. I should have called them mate. Should have called her hen or babe or something.
Babe.
Listen, babe. Been doing this a while. I've only ever called someone babe in that context once.
What, in a call centre?
No. I'm like deliberately trying to just
derogatory.
Yeah. Not even so much derogatory, but just sort of like I'm not taking you seriously type of thing. Aye. That was bad of me. I was being a butthead. Guy at Coral gave me the whole. I'll take at the bookies. Give me the whole. I'll take my money elsewhere then. And I was like, I don't care. I get paid the same either way. So you do that. So mad specky guy. Do you know what he was mad about as well?
What?
He said put £50 on that machine. I was like, oh, you just put it in the slot. He was like, I'm not standing here plugging money into the machine like that. I'm like, what's the difference?
What's the difference if I do it?
If anything, you're walking further to the till to have me do it.
Yeah.
Lazy bastard like yourself should rather just sit on his arse and it made no sense. I don't know. It's like people that say if you use self-checkout, you should get a discount because you're the one that's doing the work, and you're like, if you consider that work, I don't know, it's just something. You and I are on different wavelengths. A lot of people say that. I use self-checkout, you should give me a discount because you should be doing this for me. Exactly. I'm like, I just totally disagree. It's pros and cons. Okay, you need to do it yourself, but it's A, not difficult, and B, it means you don't have to have awkward patter with the person behind the checkout. They'd be like, oh, got any holidays booked? No. Up to much tonight? Just not much, mate. You. If you get to avoid that, it's worth it. So I've not been paying attention. What's going on here?
So we're fighting an electric guy.
Right.
Basically like, whatchamacallit, Electro from Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's run away to the opposite corner of the map because he knows I'm going to fuck him up.
Yeah, they do that in Warriors games a lot. They get swung about and then they sort of just retreat. You should play Hyrule Warriors, it's good.
Maybe we'll do that next.
maybe.
I might do a one-off. I was going to play Farters.
I think you should.
I've
not played it in ages, so...
Or even another fight. I'm easy with fighting game. I've got Virtua Fighter 5 there.
I'm not that into Virtua Fighter.
Well, neither am I, which is why I feel it might be a bit fairer.
I feel like it could... I see the appeal, I see how it could be a good fighting game, but yeah, it's the player base is way too small and things like that. You know, if you wanted to like play it online or what have you.
It's only because to do it instead of Farters.
Well, no, I should do
Because
that.
Farters on without any prep can sometimes be a bit ruthless. Thought it was going to freeze there.
Well, it's if you want me to get a few practice games in, or if you would rather I just don't play it. Because I haven't played it.
Well, I wasn't going to play it either.
But I've played Tekken, so
I don't want to play Tekken, definitely. I don't want to play Street Fighter either. I'm dog shit at Street Fighter.
I'm lousy at Street Fighter, but I like it a lot.
I was playing what's weird is I was quite good at Injustice while I was playing that. I fucking hated Mortal Kombat. I think it was 10 I was playing.
X.
Yeah.
That'd be 10.
I was just hopeless at it. Like, I couldn't believe it.
I don't know if I ever played 10. I liked Mortal Kombat 9. You know, like the reboot.
Aye.
I liked that a lot.
Gonna kill
and
me
I liked
ultimate attack. Here we
Injustice 1 and 2. I liked. I don't think I ever played Mortal Kombat X or 11. They've rebooted that again. It's MK1.
I can't lie.
I was playing it at a friend Matt's house, and so now Raiden is the chosen one, and I was like, wait, no, Raiden's the god of thunder, but no, Liu Kang is like the fire god now.
Okay.
So it used to be Liu Kang was like the chosen one, but now Raiden's like the chosen one, and Liu Kang was the god, and it's I don't know.
When I was playing X, I could just about handle like Johnny Cage, but everyone else was just totally unwieldy. Like basic combos just didn't work.
Yeah, like Injustice 1, especially, I felt like after a while I could get the hang of most of them and do at least a few things. Injustice 2, I struggled a bit. I think it was Wonder Woman I was just hopeless with. And Cyborg, I'm sure, like, I got stuck on their chapters for a while because that's terrible.
I was
Black Canary was my go-to in Injustice 2.
I quite liked Black Canary. I always liked Batman. Batman's always my main man.
Aye, Batman's good, sort of reliable.
Superman wasn't as good in the second one as he was in the first, I felt.
Aye, apparently the reason he was so good in the first one was because that's when Man of Steel was due to come out or something like that. So they wanted him to be good. So he, at least in the original patch he was quite overpowered.
Aye.
I think when they balance patched it, they took him down a wee bit. I loved his combo when it was like punch, ice breath, and then you would like combo off the ice breath.
Aye. I liked all his. He was always quite hard to predict.
Aye.
I mean, Batman was pretty obvious. Like, although I quite liked the Batarang where he would deck you. I did that all the time just to be a bit of a dick. So you use like a punch, and then it was like you'd throw the Batarang, but it was like a low throw, so it would always like trip them up.
I think I know it. Yeah.
And it wasn't like high damage; it was just funny.
Yeah.
You made me.
That's the problem. Is like there's a few moves in that looked really cool, but then actually like Batman had a sort of like low kick, high kick move that looked really cool, but then actually did very much damage. Black Canary had like a sort of you'd sort of spring back and then jump forward, like sort of jumping kick that looked really cool, but didn't do much damage either. It was really easy to block, but I just liked how it looked, so I was always doing it. Zod was awesome in the first Injustice actually. Did you ever use Zod?
I don't know.
It was you had the like you've got the Ultimate Edition, don't you?
I think so for both games.
So he's in the Ultimate Edition. He was actually really, really good, but that's one of the annoying things about fighting games these days is the DLC characters are always really good because they want you to buy them, so it makes sense. Like if you ever watch any of the big fighting game tournaments, it's like they grab the grand finals, it's always like the most recent DLC character versus the most recent DLC character. Good job.